Vasudevaya.
1:11:20.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, entitled Creation, Chapter 11, entitled Lord Krishna's Entrance into Dwarka. And today's text is 20. But before we recite the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, we should first of all offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto the Goddess of Learning, Mother Saraswati, and unto the author, Srila Vyasadeva. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayo Udiraya Shrinvata Swakata Krishna Punyashravana Kirtanam Vidyantosya Bhadroni Viduno Sit Saritsatam. Krishna, who is the super soul and the heart of the living entity and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who's developed the urge to hear his message, which in itself is virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nasta preshu avidreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavatirtamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular hearing and attending classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes completely destroyed, almost to nil. And loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is glorified with transcendental prayers, is established as an irrevocable fact. Okay, so text number 20, 11th chapter, 1st canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So please repeat. Nata nartaka gunarvaha. Nata nartaka kandarvaha. Sutta manga vadinaha. Gayanti chotamashloka. Charitan yabhutani cha. Natta nartaka gandharvaha. Sutta mangada vani naha. Gayanti chotmashak mashloka. Charitanya bhutani cha. Natta nartaka gandharvaha. Sutta manga vandinaha. Gayanti chomashloka. Charitanya bhutani cha. Itaram. Natta nartaka gandharva. Sutta manga vandinaha. Gayanti chatamashloka. Charitanya bhutani cha. Natta nartaka gandharva. Sutta manda vanidaha. Gayanti chotamashloke. Charitanya bhutani cha. Natta nartaka gandharvaha. Sutta Magda Vandinaha Gayanti Chatamashloka Charitanya Bhutani Cha. Radhika.
Yes. Nata Nartaka Gandharvaha Sutamagada Vandinaha Gayanti Chotamashloka Charitani Adbhutani Cha.
Thank you.
Natanartaka Gandharvaha Sutamakta Vandinaha Gayanti Chotamasloka Charitani Arutani Cha.
Natanataka Gandharva Sutamagata Vandina Gayanti Chotamasloka Charitani Bhutani Cha.
Okay, word for word. Nata. Dramatists. Nartaka. Dancers. Gandharvaha. Celestial singers. Sutta. Professional historians. Magdaha. Professional genealogists. Vandinaha. Professional learned speakers. Gayanti. Chant. Cha. Respectively. Uttama Shloka. The Supreme Lord. Charitani. Activities. Abhutani. All superhuman. Cha. And. A. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Expert dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and learned speakers all gave their respective contributions, being inspired by the superhuman pastimes of the Lord. Thus they proceeded on and on. So please repeat. Expert dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and learned speakers all gave their respective contributions, being inspired by the superhuman pastimes of the Lord. Thus they proceeded on and on. Report. It appears that 5,000 years ago, the society also needed the services of the dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, public speakers, etc. Dancers, singers, and dramatic artists mostly hailed from the Shudra community, whereas learned historians, genealogists, and public speakers hailed from the Brahmana community. All of them belonged to a particular caste, and they became so trained in their respective families. Such dramatists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and public speakers would dwell on the subject of the Lord's superhuman activities in different ages and millenniums, and not on ordinary events. Nor were they in chronological order. All the Puranas are historical facts described only in relation with the Supreme Lord in different ages and times, as well as on different planets also. Therefore, we do not find any chronological order. The modern historians, therefore, cannot catch up the link, and thus they unauthoritatively remark that the Puranas are all imaginary stories only. Even 100 years ago in India, all dramatic performances were centered around the superhuman activities of the Supreme Lord. The common people would be very, very easily entertained by the performances of dramas and yatra parties played wonderfully on the played wonderfully on the superhuman activities of the Lord, and thus even the illiterate agriculturalist would be a participant in the knowledge of the Vedic literature, despite a considerable lack of academic qualifications. Therefore, expert players in drama, dancers, singers, speakers, etc., are required for the spiritual enlightenment of the common man. The genealogist would give account completely of the descendants of a particular family. Even at the present moment, the guides in the pilgrimage sites of India submit a complete account of the genealogical tables before a newcomer. This wonderful act sometimes attracts more customers to receive such important information. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timananda Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militan Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance. My eyes are being opened by the torch of knowledge. Due to the mercy of my spiritual master, I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master and unto all Vaishnava gurus. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapara Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Scha. I offer my obeisances unto the Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, his older brother Sanatan, the others, including Raghunath Das and Jiva Goswami. Shri Rupam Sa Krichatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam. Offer my obeisances unto Advaita Acharya, unto the Avaduta Nityananda, and unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saha Lalita Shri Vishwakamvitam Scha. Offer my obeisances unto Radha and Krishna, and unto the gopis headed by Lalita and Vishaka. Offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet in this world. Our obeisances unto you, O servant of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. You are kindly spreading the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu throughout the Western worlds, which is filled with voidism and impersonalism. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the devotees of the Lord, those who are present in the temple room. Again and again, I offer my obeisances unto those devotees on Zoom. All devotees of the Lord, the Vaishnava, they're just like the desire tree. They can fulfill the desires of everyone and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned soul. Bunch Kalpatarubiascha, Kripa Sindhu Piyevacha, Patitanam Pavanivyo Vaishnavivyo Namo Namaha. Offer my obeisances unto the Panchatattva, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda, Advaita Gadadhar, and all those in the line of Lord Chaitanya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nata Nartaka Gandharva Shruta Mantaha Vanida Gayanti Chotama Shloka Charitanya Bhutani Cha. Expert dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and learned speakers all gave their respective contributions, being inspired by the superhuman pastimes of the Lord. Thus they proceeded on and on. So, this chapter is entitled Sri Krishna's Entrance into Dwarka. It's not the only time that Krishna entered into Dwarka. This particular pastime is coming after the Battle of Kurukshetra. But we also know that Lord Krishna left Dwarka on other occasions. When the Pandavas, they went into hiding, and because Yudhisthira had lost a gambling match, and when he lost the gambling match, one of the requirements was they had to go and be excommunicated for some time. In fact, there were 2 gambling matches. And another time, the Pandavas were invited by Duryodhan to come to the country. Come to the country. We have a nice facility for you. You can relax, enjoy. But the wonderful facility was designed and built in such a way that was made of lac, highly flammable. This was the evil intent of Duryodhan, the cousin, very envious of the Pandavas, especially Bhima. And so the Pandavas came, and then they set fire in the middle of the night. But fortunately, Vidura, the uncle of the Pandavas, who favored the Pandavas, warned them about this. And so there was a secret tunnel, and they managed to escape. But everybody thought that the Pandavas, the mother Kunti, and the 5 Pandavas were burned in the fire. So they went undercover. There was a Swayamvar of Draupadi, the daughter of Drupad. The daughter of Drupad was very, very qualified. And Drupad, he wanted specifically his daughter to marry Arjuna, no one else. So he devised a Swayamvar that only Arjuna could win, and that was to shoot the eye of a fish while looking in a pot of water, looking down on a wheel. The fish was on a wheel spinning. It took great bowmanship to be able to do this, but only Arjuna had that skill, had that ability. So when he was at the Swayamvar, not only was he there and his brothers disguised as brahmanas, but Lord Krishna and Balaram were also there. So this took place in another part of the kingdom. So Krishna had previously left Dwarka to be at the Swayamvar, not to participate, not to compete. Nobody can compete with Krishna, of course, not even Arjuna, no matter how difficult the challenge may be. So Krishna was also away at that time. But this particular time, he's coming back. This is after the Battle of Kurukshetra, if I'm not mistaken. And so now he's returning. And when he's returning, everybody came out to see him. The king came out to see him. Who was the king at the time? After Krishna had defeated Krishna and Balaram, after they had killed Kamsa, they re-enthroned. All of a sudden, the name is.
Ugrasena.
Thank you, Ugrasena. Yes, thank you. It was right on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, Ugrasena. So Krishna in Dwarka, he wasn't a king, he was a prince, and Ugrasena was actually the king. So even Ugrasena, the king, came out to receive the prince, to receive Krishna, as well as others, Pradyumna, Samba. We know Samba. It's interesting because Samba, he was the son of Krishna. But at the same time, Samba's wife, Krishna's daughter, Samba's wife was actually Duryodhan's daughter. So there was some family contention there. And anyway, Samba came to greet Krishna. The interesting thing is that when Samba took I forget the name. Anybody remember the name of Duryodhan's, Samba's wife, Duryodhan's daughter? Samba took her, and it caused a great rift. And Duryodhan and his army came to challenge Samba. And it was very one-sided, because it's almost like Abhimanyu on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, how 5 great warriors, inappropriately were fighting against Abhimanyu. And despite Abhimanyu's great skill as a warrior, he was defeated because there were these 5 Maharathis who were able to defeat Abhimanyu. So in the same way, these great warriors ganged up on Samba and they captured him. So this created a lot of tension. Balaram, the uncle, he said, I can go and negotiate because Duryodhan and Balaram, they're friends. Balaram didn't participate in the Battle of Kurukshetra. Balaram was the martial teacher of the club to Duryodhan. So Duryodhan had a lot of respect, and they were actually friends. So Balaram said, I'll go and I will challenge them. I mean, I will go in and negotiate. I'll be a mediator between the two parties. So Balaram requested that Samba be released, and they refused. So Balaram, he became very, very angry. He became so angry, he wanted to completely destroy the kingdom. But what he did was he has his plow. And with his plow, he started to pull the whole city of Hastinapur to the ocean. I think it was Hastinapur, pull it to the ocean. And then Duryodhana and company, they realized we better listen to Balaram. And so in this way, so Balaram also came to meet Krishna, and all the citizens came. Even the prostitutes came. Even the prostitutes came to visit Krishna. In that section, if I recall, it says sometimes someone may be in a position where against their will or by circumstance, they end up in a profession that is not looked upon very nicely, such as prostitution. But even in Dwarka, even the prostitutes were devotees of the Lord. So so they all came out to greet Krishna. He's returning. And it brings to mind one time, many times, whenever Prabhupada would visit somewhere, there'd be huge fanfare, absolutely huge fanfare. Devotees would come and they'd be expressing their love. Tears would be flowing. They'd be, bringing flowers, offering flower petals. Kirtan would be going on. And one of Prabhupada's servants, who was there with Prabhupada all the time for close to 2 years, Shruta Kirti, he was seeing all these devotees expressing their emotions and their love for Prabhupada, and he was thinking, I don't feel that. I don't feel that love. So it was like really bothering him. So he thought he would ask Prabhupada about that. He said, Srila Prabhupada, said, all these devotees, wherever you go, they show so much love and, express their love to you. I don't feel any love like that. Prabhupada didn't say anything, he just walked out. So Shruta Kirti is thinking, oh my God, I just told my spiritual master I don't love him. I mean, that's got to be a big insult, what's going on here? But nonetheless, he did his regular service, for Prabhupada. I believe one of the services was warming Prabhupada's bath water. What they do, they get the water, and they had this, I think they still have them in India. I know I've used them. You plug it in, and it's a water heater. You get a bucket of water, you plug it in, and you just dip it in, you put it in the water, and it heats up the water. So he would heat up the water, and he would do all the other services that he did for Srila Prabhupada. And for the rest of the day, he's thinking, what have I done? I've really blown it. So finally in the evening, he meets with Prabhupada again, and Prabhupada says, so, do you like doing service for me? He says, oh yes, Srila Prabhupada. I I really like doing service for you. Prabhupada said, that is love. So it's not necessarily all the emotion and everything, although that also demonstrates it, but real love is based on service, right? And it's not necessarily a matter of what service we do, because here we see that the dramatists, the artists, the dancers, the singers, they all are considered of the Shudra class. They all came and they're all doing performances for Krishna, to please Krishna. But so it's not necessarily what the service is, but it's the service that you render, and hopefully you're rendering with some love, appreciation. That is what matters. It's not because you're a pujari that your service is any better than someone who may be cleaning the temple. Krishna's eyes, all the service is equal. He sees the service. He doesn't see necessarily the type of service. From our perspective, we may be thinking, oh, the brahmanas are on the altar, they're taking care of the deities, or someone is giving class, and then someone else is just doing some other, let's say, from our perspective, less important service. But there's no less important service. In Krishna's eyes, it's all the same, because the historians, they came. The genealogists, they study the ancestry. Actually, today they have these ancestry.com. Sometimes people do it and they think they're of a particular ancestry, and then they find out, somewhere in my, I don't know, I think they use DNA testing or something. And some conspirators say it's just another plot to know exactly where everyone is and who they're from, etc. But it's interesting. But it's the same concept. Usually it's the learned Brahmana class, so it would be the genealogists, the historians, reciters of the Puranas. It's mentioned here that the Puranas are set up in such a way that it's not done in a chronological order. Usually our understanding of history, it's in a chronological order. But the Puranas, they're not necessarily in chronological order, but rather they're there for upliftment of consciousness. Just like if somebody's giving a class, sometimes they'll take a reference from the Ramayana, which is, Treta Yuga. Sometimes they'll take it from Lord Chaitanya, which is 500 years ago, and it'll be recorded. And it'll be different periods of time, but it's the same principle with the Puranas. There's not necessarily any chronological order, which sometimes confuses the modern academia, because there's no historical reference. Then they just take it as being some mythology. This is what's being some mythology or some story, or how is it possible that a 7-year-old boy could lift a mountain and hold it up on his little finger for 7 days, whatever it was. That's impossible, because we don't see it. Or even more fantastic, how can the Supreme Lord take on the form of a boar? Or it's like there's so many unbelievable, almost fairy tale like activities that take place historically related to the Supreme Lord, that we just put it aside as mythology. But if you look at the most sober persons, you can just take a look at the altar, for instance, and just look at, you have A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, then Bhakti Siddhanta, Gorkashore Das, most sober, learned scholars, and they don't put any of this as mythology. They accept it as fact. Most sober, clean in their habits, pure in their heart. This is what determines. So even though there's a big difference between the practicing devotee, the pure devotee, and the non-devotees. No matter how educated one may be, if he's not actually a devotee of his Lord, then all his efforts are for naught. It's stated that if one becomes perfect, it's not possible, but if one becomes perfect in his material pursuits, but he doesn't take to devotional service, then his whole life is a waste. Whereas if someone engages in devotional service just for a little bit of devotional service, just for a little bit, then his life has much more value than the person who is not engaged in any devotional service. And what to speak of someone who is engaged in lots of devotional service. Srila Prabhupada was once said, I mentioned this before, said that if somebody, some devotees, they started they stayed for some time and then they started to live, and Prabhupada said there's no loss. Krishna, of course, says the same thing in the Bhagavad Gita. Even a little devotional service can save one from the most dangerous type of situation. So when Prabhupada said, yeah, even if they come for 1 year, even if they come for a few months, even if they come for 1 week, even if they come for a day, even if they come for a moment, there's no loss. So any devotional service that we do is eternally to our benefit. There's another point at the bottom, at the end of the purport. Hare Krishna. I lost my trend of thought all of a sudden. I'm so sorry. Oh, yes. Entertainment. That's the point. Entertainment. Even all the entertainment in a Vedic culture is focused on Krishna. Not only does it please Krishna, but it educates people and it purifies the heart. So the artists, as we see, they paint beautiful pictures. The dancers, the Bharatanatyam, classic dances, it's all about the pastimes of Krishna. But even an illiterate person, Prabhupada says, uses agriculturalists, even an illiterate person, they can relate to the pastimes of the Lord. Janma karma chame divyam, one of my favorite verses. Janma karma chadevyam yo veti tatvataha tyakva dehan panarjama naitimam etya asunjano. One who knows the birth and activities, knows of my birth and activities, does not, upon giving up this body, take birth again in the material world, but attains my eternal abode. So the general populace, if they're reading, they're able to reading the pastimes of Krishna, reading the history of Krishna, hearing about the genealogical order of Krishna. We know that genealogically speaking, Krishna is coming from the moon god. Lord Ramachandra is coming from the sun god, the whole dynasty. It's there. That's a genealogical table of the Supreme Lord. There's different incarnations. That's why, because Krishna is coming during the dynasty of the moon god, we observe Krishna Janmashtami up until midnight. And with Ramachandra, the general principle is, because he's coming of the sun god, is they observe it until noon. However, Srila Prabhupada, keeping in mind that it's the sun god, he's suggesting that we fast until sunset, also connected to the sun. Lord Chaitanya is, well, I won't go there because he appeared during a solar eclipse, a lunar eclipse. So it was nighttime, right? So we observe Lord Chaitanya's appearance in the evening. And like that. So this is the genealogists, they would do this according to the pastimes of the Lord, the historians according to the pastimes of the Lord. So Brahmanas would recite Vedic mantras, tantras, Puranas, etc., stories, pastimes of the Lord. And so then the common person would be hearing and entertained in this way. Unlike today's society, where entertainment that has nothing to do with the Lord, but rather mostly with violence, with criminal activity. Even the romance is loose sexual activities. And the general masses of people, they're becoming conditioned where society is becoming more and more and more degraded. Whereas proper society, a godly society, all the activities are towards the Supreme Lord, to elevate the consciousness, to purify the heart, to prepare someone for the purpose, ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life, the purpose of life, is to not try to become more materially successful. It's not the one who has the most toys at the end, who dies with the most toys, wins. I saw a bumper sticker like that. The one with the most toys at the time of death wins. No, it's not at all. You lose. The one who has the most Krishna consciousness is the one who wins. Why? Because nahanyate hanyamane sharir. For the body, for the soul, there's no birth, there's no death. Never has it been, never will it be. Is eternal, ever existing, does not die when the body dies. So if we come to this understanding and then understand what the purpose of the soul is, Jiver Saruphoy, Krishna Nityadas, to engage in the eternal service of the Lord, then we're in our proper constitution. And when we're in our proper constitution, we're healthy. Prabhupada would always use a simple example of the hand serving the mouth. The hand is the servant. All living entities are servants. Serve the whole, or to serve Krishna. When we say the whole, we don't mean the impersonal, we mean the actual person. Because the whole is coming from the person. Om Purna Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vishishyate. The Lord is perfect and complete, and because He's completely perfect, all emanations from Him are completely perfect. Even though there are so many units that emanate from Him, He remains the complete balance. So, so just like the hand is the servant, part and parcel of the body, the soul is part and parcel of the Lord, to serve the mouth. The hand serves the mouth, the body's healthy. The hand is healthy, gets nourished, gets strength. But if the hand wants to be independent and not serve the mouth, doesn't matter what you do, you cannot get healthy. Because you're not. So it's the same with the living entity. It doesn't matter what you do independently, you'll never actually become healthy. Whereas, and the amazing thing is that you actually can feel the tendency, you can feel it. When you engage in devotional service, which begins with chanting the holy name, my dear Lord, please engage me in your service. Service is there, you can't avoid it. Every living entity is a servant. The perfection of servant is to serve the Lord. And when we do that, we actually feel satisfied. We actually feel some satisfaction. And this is one conversation Srila Prabhupada had. I've mentioned this many times, and you've heard it many times. Guru Das also says this, that they're on a morning walk one time, and Srila Prabhupada, or he's in the assembly of disciples, and he says, so how do you know that Krishna is there? How do you know Krishna is God? And one devotee said, because in Bhagavad Gita it says, Ham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvapartate. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it says, Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swayam. And Prabhupada said, that's just some book. Another devotee said, well, because you tell us, Srila Prabhupada. He said, I'm just an old man. How do you know? And so one new devotee, he kind of sheepishly, puts up his hand. Because you can feel it. Prabhupada said, yes, because you can feel it. And then another time, when Guru Das was there, and then another time, Prabhupada's another situation, asked the same question. Guru Das immediately says, because you can feel it. Prabhupada says, no. He said, because Bhagavad Gita says so, Srimad Bhagavatam says so, spiritual master says so. So the point is, it's interesting. Yes, you can feel it. As soon as you engage in devotional service, as soon as you chant Hare Krishna, with a sense of sense of dedication. You can feel it. There has to be some devotion, some emotion. Otherwise, only commotion. You feel it. But just feeling it isn't enough. You have to support it. You have to support it with some evidence. And our evidence is basic Shastra. What's our evidence today in the new social media era? What evidence do we have? We have no idea what the truth is. There's so much false information out there. We have no idea. Is that the truth? Is that the truth? Because there's so many different conflicts. We know that the media is often influenced by big business because big business supports it. Big business advertises. So we have no idea what the truth is. However, we know truth is in the Shastra. Truth is in the Shastra that's presented through a perfect disciplic line. That is how we accept the truth. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, that is our evidence. That is the true evidence. So we take that evidence and we apply it and we feel the result. So both have to be there. So once again, everyone was coming out to greet the Lord from all classes, and the Lord was reciprocating with them proportionately. Yeyamam pram prapajante tamstataivam bhajamyaham. As we engage in the service, Krishna reciprocates. Krishna will give us the intelligence on how to serve him by our effort. As Srila Prabhupada used to tell Prabhupada, and Prabhupada used to tell us, Srila Prabhupada's father used to tell Prabhupada, and he used to tell us, you take one step to Krishna, he takes 10 towards you. What can you give Krishna with your two hands? Krishna has unlimited hands. But if Krishna wants to give to you, what can you hold with your two hands? So it's the same thing. So whatever we're doing for Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. Krishna relates. He can relate with everybody. He relates with the prostitutes. He relates with the brahmanas. He relates with the dancers, the shudras, the vaishyas, the kshatriyas. Ugrasena, a kshatriya, comes out to greet him. Krishna is there. He relates with everyone because Krishna is also within everyone's heart. But it's not necessarily Krishna's in the heart, and therefore, okay, we accept Krishna's in the heart, therefore, we don't need to come and take darshan. But when Krishna's there, when Krishna shows up, what do the citizens do? They go to meet Krishna. Yeah, he's in the heart. All the citizens of Dwarka, they're all exalted devotees. Certainly they're aware Krishna's everywhere. But when he comes back, they're so excited, they go and meet him and they greet him and they bring him gifts. And it's the same principle. You come to the temple and Krishna's there. Yes, he's in the heart, he's everywhere, but he's also there. And therefore we come and take darshan of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Finish there. Any comments? Any questions?
Prabhu, may I make one comment on the word